Hello everyone, and welcome to my Young and the Restless official 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Chelsea betray Adam, support Kane to return to Genoa City safely. It all began with a storm Adam Newman never saw coming. Chelsea Lawson, once the only person who knew him inside out, now stood on the opposite side of a rapidly shifting chessboard. For weeks, Adam had sensed a change in Chelsea. Her silences were longer, her eyes distant, and her loyalty, once unwavering, had started to crack under pressure. At first, he chalked it up to the toll their recent tensions had taken. But deep down, he knew Chelsea was slipping away. What he didn't expect, however, was who she would slip toward. Kane Ashby, a man once dismissed by the Newmans as irrelevant, now re-emerging with a vengeance, fueled by secrets that could destroy everything. Adam's paranoia turned into full-blown certainty when he discovered Chelsea had been in secret contact with Kane. At first, it appeared harmless: a few encrypted emails, late-night phone calls under the guise of work emergencies, and unexplained absences. But it was a particular intercepted message that broke Adam's carefully composed world. "You've suffered enough, Kane. I'll help you come back. I'll make sure Adam doesn't stop you." Adam stared at the message for hours, his fingers shaking, not from anger but disbelief. Chelsea, the woman who had stood by him during his darkest moments, had chosen to align herself with a man Adam saw as both unpredictable and dangerous. But for Chelsea, it wasn't about betrayal, it was about redemption. She had grown tired of Adam's manipulations, his need for control, and the way he used love as a weapon. Kane, on the other hand, had approached her not with promises or seductions, but with truth. He was on the run, yes, but not because he was guilty, because he had been framed. Chelsea had watched Adam orchestrate too many cleanups to doubt that he was capable of such a thing. And when she finally met Kane in a safe house near Chicago, the man she found wasn't broken, he was burning with determination. Kane had returned to the US secretly after years of being hunted, blamed for things he swore he never did: an embezzlement scandal that nearly brought Chancellor Winters to its knees, rumors of blackmail, and whispers of a death tied to his name. Adam had been instrumental in fueling these fires, always operating in the shadows, making sure Kane never set foot in Genoa City again. But now, with Chelsea's help, Kane had found an unexpected ally. Chelsea saw the desperation in his eyes, the haunted way he spoke of his children, the ache in his voice when he talked about Lily, and she made a choice. For once, she would stand against Adam. For once, she would right a wrong. Together, they created a plan. Chelsea would use her ties in Genoa City to soften Kane's return, speak to Victor, convince Nick to stay out of it, and most importantly, keep Adam distracted. She planted stories, stirred up old wounds, and ensured Adam's attention was diverted by reopening the investigation into Newman Media's secret financial accounts Adam had buried years ago but never fully erased. It worked. Adam was swamped, defensive, and too busy cleaning up his digital footprint to notice that Chelsea was slowly building a bridge for Kane back into the city he had once called home. But betrayal, even when done with the best intentions, leaves deep scars. When Adam finally uncovered the full scope of what Chelsea had done, he was beyond livid. He was destroyed. He confronted her in the penthouse, his voice low, almost calm, which made it all the more terrifying. "You helped him, Chelsea? After everything I did for you?" Chelsea didn't flinch. "You did everything to me, Adam. And to Kane. You buried him for your gain. I won't be a part of it anymore." The moment froze in silence. Adam, for once, had no words. He saw the truth in her eyes. She was gone. Not physically, not yet. But emotionally, spiritually, Chelsea had walked away, and worse, she had run to his enemy. Meanwhile, Kane's quiet return to Genoa City began with shadows slipping into the Chancellor mansion under the cover of night, aided by Esther, who had always been secretly sympathetic to him. The old home brought back floods of memories: his children's laughter, his battles with Jill, his love and loss with Lily. But he wasn't here for nostalgia. He was here for vindication. With Chelsea's help, Kane confronted Jill first. The reunion was icy. Jill hadn't forgiven him for the scandals that had tainted the Chancellor name. But when Kane showed her documents, actual proof that it had been Adam's shell companies siphoning funds, and not him, her demeanor changed. Slightly. "You better not be playing me, Kane," she had whispered, her voice trembling with fury and shame. Because if this is true, the Newmans owe you everything. But not everyone welcomed him back. Devon, now one of the most powerful figures in Genoa City, confronted Kane at society in a brutal face-off that left both men rattled. You should have stayed gone, Devon growled. You think one woman's pity party is enough to clear your name? I think the truth is, Kane replied, cool and unapologetic. Yet even Devon couldn't deny the weight of the evidence Kane carried. Slowly, the city began to buzz whispers of Kane's return, Chelsea's betrayal, and the skeletons in Adam's vault. Newman media went on the defensive. Victor Newman himself called Chelsea in for a private meeting, warning her that she had stepped into a war far beyond her understanding. You think you can outplay Adam? Victor had warned, his eyes cold. You just put a target on your back. I'm not scared of Adam anymore, Chelsea replied. And you should be asking why he was so afraid of Kane that he had to ruin his life. Victor didn't respond, but his silence was telling. He had always respected strength, even if it came in the form of defiance. Meanwhile, Adam, feeling the walls close in, launched his own counterattack. He leaked partial truths to the press, painting Kane as a manipulator who seduced Chelsea into helping him. He even tried to turn Billy against Chelsea, suggesting that her alliance with Kane was romantic, not strategic. But it backfired. Billy, despite his issues with Kane, had grown to trust Chelsea more than Adam. And when he confronted her about the rumors, Chelsea was honest. I didn't sleep with Kane, she said, her voice firm. But I did believe him. That's more than I can say for most people in this town. As the battle raged, something unexpected happened. The people of Genoa City began to see Kane in a new light. He wasn't seeking revenge or attention. He wanted justice. He wanted his life back. And slowly, piece by piece, he was taking it. Lily, however, was caught in the eye of the storm. When she saw Kane again for the first time in years, the tension was unbearable. They met at Chancellor Park, away from the cameras, away from the noise. You shouldn't be here, she said, her voice tight. I had to come back, Kane replied. Not for you. Not even for the kids. For me. I'm tired of running from lies. Lily didn't answer immediately. Her heart ached. She had loved him once deeply, but time had changed them both. Still, as he stood before her, more honest and raw than ever, she couldn't help but wonder, had she judged him too quickly? Back at Newman Tower, the fallout from Chelsea's betrayal left Adam exposed. Investors began asking questions. Journalists dug up old transactions. Even Victor's confidence in his son wavered. And as Chelsea walked away from the wreckage she helped ignite, she didn't look back. Her betrayal wasn't out of spite. It was a correction. A long overdue shift in the balance of truth. In the end, Kane returned to Genoa City not as a villain or a savior, but as a man finally given the chance to tell his side of the story. And Chelsea, standing beside him, finally felt free, not just from Adam, but from the lies she had once helped protect. Adam, for all his power and cunning, had lost something priceless, the one person who once believed he could be better. And Chelsea, though bruised by the battle, had gained something stronger than love: conviction. The weeks following Kane's return were anything but calm. Genoa City had become a battleground not just of power and influence, but of shifting loyalties. Chelsea's betrayal continued to send aftershocks through the city's elite. Adam, once untouchable, now found himself encircled by doubters and enemies alike. And in the shadows of that chaos, Kane quietly began to reclaim what was taken from him. Chelsea, meanwhile, knew there was no turning back. Her decision to support Kane had effectively severed her last ties to the Newman family. Not only had she betrayed Adam, but her actions had put her at odds with Victor, a man known for his ruthless retaliation. But Chelsea was prepared. She had anticipated that Adam would try to destroy her credibility, and in response, she had already begun documenting everything from Adam's prior cover-ups to his secret deals that helped frame Kane years ago. She released her information in small doses. First, she leaked confidential files to Chancecom, drawing Billy and Lily's media outlet into the fray. Then, she reached out to Christine Blair Williams, offering testimony that could prompt a re-examination of Kane's case. Christine had her doubts, but she agreed to a private meeting with Kane and Chelsea, just to hear them out. That meeting changed everything. Kane laid out his evidence, including offshore banking records, hacked emails, and sworn affidavits from former Newman operatives who had gone rogue. Christine listened intently, her face unreadable, but her eyes occasionally flickering with something Kane hadn't seen in years: hope. Hope that justice might still be possible. After the meeting, Christine told Chelsea quietly, "If even half of this is true, Adam is in a world of trouble. And so are the people who helped him." Chelsea nodded. "That's why I'm doing this. Not for revenge. For the truth." But truth came with a price. Back at Newman Enterprises, Adam's world continued to fracture. Nick, though never fully trusting his brother, had once believed Adam was capable of change. But now, even Nick was disgusted. He confronted Adam in the boardroom in front of Newman executives. "Did you really frame Kane just to protect a deal you were trying to steal from Chancellor?" Nick asked. Adam didn't deny it outright. Instead, he deflected, as he always did. Kane wasn't clean either. He got greedy. "I just made sure he paid the price first." Nick shook his head. "You crossed a line, Adam. And you lost Chelsea because of it." Victor, who had overheard the exchange from the hallway, stepped in. "Enough," he barked. "What's done is done. We clean it up, we move on." But Adam knew the damage was irreversible. His family was closing ranks, just not around him. And Chelsea's media campaign, now backed by Chancecom, was making it impossible to bury the past. Meanwhile, Kane was finally starting to breathe again. The pressure of hiding, the weight of guilt he didn't deserve it, was beginning to lift. The public tide was turning. Social media buzzed with support. Justice for Kane started trending after Billy published an editorial painting Kane not as a saint, but as a wronged man who deserved redemption. Still, Kane remained cautious. He'd been burned before. And there were still people who didn't believe in his innocence, like Devon. Devon remained one of his harshest critics. The tension between them boiled over during a chance encounter at the Grand Phoenix bar. The exchange quickly became heated, with both men throwing years of resentment across the counter. "You think you can just waltz back into this city and pretend none of this happened?" Devon sneered. "I'm not pretending anything," Kane shot back. "I'm proving what did happen. You just don't want to believe you were wrong about me. You lied to everyone. You cheated the company. You manipulated Lily." "I never cheated Lily," Kane interrupted, his voice suddenly quieter, firmer. "I messed up, yes. But I never betrayed her like Adam betrayed me. Or like you betrayed me when you refused to listen." The tension thickened, but before it could escalate further, Chelsea stepped between them. "Enough," she barked, surprising both men. "This isn't about pride or grudges anymore. This is about the truth. Kane has proof. You can't ignore that forever." Devon said nothing, but the next day, a request came through his assistant. Devon wanted to see the documents for himself. Kane didn't celebrate. He knew it would take more than facts to change Devon's heart. But it was a start. Elsewhere in Genoa City, Lily struggled with the emotional toll of Kane's return. She had built a life without him, a stable, careful life with boundaries. But now, his presence stirred old memories, old wounds, and old feelings. Their second meeting happened not in private, but in public, at the Chancellor Winter's boardroom. Jill had called it, wanting to discuss Kane's claims of innocence and the possibility of reinstating him as a partner, even temporarily, if the legal review turned out in his favor. Lily sat across from Kane, arms folded. "Just because you weren't guilty of that crime doesn't mean you're owed anything." Kane nodded slowly. "I'm not asking to be owed. I'm asking for the chance to clear my name and to stop running." Jill looked between them. "I know there's history here, but if what Chelsea and Kane are presenting holds water, we will revisit what happened. Adam Newman's not walking away from this untouched." As they adjourned the meeting, Kane caught Lily's eye. There was pain there, but something else too, maybe curiosity. Maybe the door hadn't closed entirely. The next morning, a bombshell dropped. A leaked video, reportedly from a disgruntled Newman media executive, showed Adam in a heated conversation with a hacker, the same hacker who'd manipulated Chancellor's systems during the embezzlement scandal. In the video, Adam said, "Make sure it looks like it's coming from Kane. I want no trail back to Newman." The city erupted. The media pounced. The Newmans went into lockdown. And Kane? He stood before a press conference, shoulder to shoulder with Chelsea, finally ready to speak his truth. I've been silent for too long. I was framed. I was cast out. But I never gave up. I never stopped fighting to prove who I really was. And thanks to the courage of one person who believed in me, Chelsea, I'm standing here today. Reporters shouted questions. Are you pressing charges against Adam Newman? What's your relationship with Chelsea? Are you returning to Chancellor Winters? Kane didn't answer them all. He simply said, I'm coming home. And this time, I won't be pushed out. Later that night, Adam watched the press conference from his darkened office. He had lost everything: his standing at Newman, the trust of his family, and the love of Chelsea. And he knew he had only himself to blame. Victor walked in silently, setting a glass of scotch down beside his son. This could have been avoided, he said quietly. But you never learned when to stop. Adam didn't look at him. I just wanted Kane out of the way. Victor took a sip. And now he's in your place. Meanwhile, Chelsea and Kane sat together on a bench in Chancellor Park. The chaos had quieted, but the emotions still surged between them. I never thought I'd see this city again, Kane said softly. You deserved to, Chelsea replied. And I couldn't let Adam take that from you. Kane turned to her, gratitude etched in every line of his face. You risked everything. So did you, she whispered. They sat in silence for a moment, not as lovers, not as conspirators, but as two people who had defied the odds. Across town, Lily watched the same press conference replay from her suite. Her children had texted her, thrilled to hear their father's name cleared. She felt relief, yes, but also confusion. Was there still a place for Kane in her life? In her heart? She didn't know yet. But one thing was certain. The man who had once been driven out in disgrace had returned stronger, wiser, and with something he never had before: public vindication. And the woman who helped him achieve it? Chelsea Lawson, once known as a con, a schemer, and Adam's partner in crime, had rewritten her narrative. She was now a symbol of justice, of defiance, of standing up when it mattered most. The fallout was still unraveling. Investigations had been reopened. Lawsuits were being filed. Adam faced suspension. Newman Enterprises faced scrutiny from regulators. And through it all, Kane stood tall, no longer a fugitive, no longer a pariah, but a man finally home. And Chelsea? She had lost Adam, yes. But she had gained something infinitely more powerful. Herself. The days following the press conference were a whirlwind of shifting alliances and raw emotion. The fallout from Adam's exposed manipulation had rattled the core of Genoa City. Boardrooms turned into battlegrounds, friendships fractured, and reputations hung in the balance. But in the middle of the chaos, Kane Ashby found himself walking through the city with something he hadn't felt in years: peace. He returned to Chancellor Park the morning after the press conference alone, reflecting in silence as the city stirred to life. The people who once whispered and crossed the street when they saw him now offered cautious nods. Some even smiled. Word of his vindication had spread fast, and the public, always hungry for a redemption story, embraced his return with unexpected warmth. Chelsea, meanwhile, was facing her own reckoning.